Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
And welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. This is a place of inspiration, education, and hope for a more compassionate and sustainable world. I'm offering this educational, inspirational show to you freely, but want you to know that your support really makes a difference. We are all in this together. If you would like to join in the vision to help make our world a healthier, kinder, and more sustainable place by making a donation, you can do so right on the TheresaNicassio.com website. That's Theresa with an H, Nicassio with an N like Nancy, one C and two S's. So that's TheresaNicassio.com. If you would like to share your products or services with my wonderful audience as a sponsor or advertiser, you can contact me through my website as well. You can also message me in social media if you'd like, but also you can message me through the contact form on my website or email me directly at the address Theresa@TheresaNicassio.com. Be sure to tune in next week when Michael Aylan will be with us talking about the work he's been doing. It's incredible. It's super duper important. He's working to make a positive change and positive changes on college campuses. And his focus is around sexual assault, reducing sexual assault, substance abuse, and hazing practices. And in particular in the Greek system, he's been doing a lot of work. So you won't want to miss that show. For today's live program, please feel free to phone in during the show if you have any questions for today's wonderful guest. If you do phone in, let our producer Jay know what your question is so he can pass it along to us during the break. And if we can, we will address your question right on the air. For those of you in the U.S., you can call in toll-free at 800-555-5453. If you are outside the U.S., the number is 310-371-5444. Those numbers are on my TheresaNicassio.website as well for your reference, and everything about the radio show you can find in terms of the schedule. If you go into the radio shows tab, which is the third big tab over, you just click on that and you can get lots of good stuff about the show and our guests. I'd like to now share with you a bit about the first of our two very special guests today. Logan Seelye is the author of 10 and 90, The Tackle That Changed Everything, and an inspirational speaker, as well as the senior web designer at Pacific Lutheran University. After a spinal cord injury in high school when he was just 16 years old, left him in a wheelchair and derailed his dreams of playing professional football, Logan has become passionate about sharing his powerful story and the personal wisdom he has gained from his experience. His positive attitude is infectious, as you will soon see, as is his dedication to share with others how to live life in the 10 and 90 way. Today, Logan's going to talk with us about this philosophical approach, this 10 and 90 way to living that he's discovered applies to any life circumstances that are challenging, not just his own. So, Logan, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited.
Yeah, great. Well, Logan, let's just start with kind of the obvious place, with this 10 and 90 philosophy, and what does 10 and 90 mean, and how did you come to learn about this philosophy?
Well, it all first came to me after my injury had happened. I was laying in my hospital bed, and my high school coach, his name is John Roback. He's very much a father figure to me at this point in my life, and he came into the hospital room and he just said, "Logan, I'm going to tell you a quote." And I said, "Okay, Coach." And he says, "Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it." And when I first heard that, it was just kind of like, man, that's a really cool quote, but I'm not really sure what to do with that right now at this point. But as the days and weeks went on, I really started to think about it, and And this is where the 10 and 90 was born, is that life is 10% what happens to you, so the 10, and 90% how you react to it. So this 10 and 90 idea really was born from this quote by Charles Swindoll. That's a bigger part of a quote all about attitude and how you just go about your daily life. And it just started to constantly remind me when I was having a tough day or when something just wasn't going right. I thought about, it doesn't matter what happens. It's what I do about what happens and how I react to it. And it was just born with so much positivity and attitude and belief and committing and so much discipline and positivity just to continue to push forward even when it seems like, you keep getting knocked down. And so it was just born out of that quote, and it's stuck with me ever since. Yeah,
well, that's a pretty big quote, and I'm just thinking, I'm a mom, I've got 2 teenagers. I'm just trying to think, as a 16-year-old, I would imagine kind of hard to stomach something like that, though. And when here you'd worked so hard and were just a top football player, and you wanted to do that in your life, and then this injury happened. And how were you able to take that in? And what was that like when you found yourself in the hospital and had got the news that you had a spinal cord injury?
Well, initially, I would say I was really naive about the seriousness of the injury, to be perfectly honest. I never broke a bone. I never had any sort of a bad injury happen to me. So when this first happened, it was like, well, in a few months I'll be back on my feet playing football in my junior year of high school. And so I think that initial naiveness to truly understanding how bad their injury was kind of set me up to always believe that things would get better.
Okay.
And so when I was in the hospital, I had some downtimes, some days where it was frustrating, but, my girlfriend was there and my coaches and teammates and friends and family. It was to the point where I think in my hospital room there was at least 30 or 40 people in the hospital room with me almost every single day until, they basically kicked them out. So there's so much positivity and so much hope being spread throughout that it was very easy for me to attack it with a lot of positivity, almost as though my therapy was a workout before when I was playing football. I just looked at it as, okay, if I want to be able to move my foot or get stronger with my shoulders, I got to push through this frustration. And as I mentioned, all the while thinking about 10 and 90.
Wow. And it sounds like I'm getting shivers as I'm imagining that many, all these people rallying for you and all this. Basically, you were surrounded in this big circle of love and community and your girlfriend. And what was that like for you to be like the center of attention and, you're in the hospital and you're the center of all this love? And because that can be hard to receive sometimes. It's like, how can I be worthy of all this? What was that like for you?
It felt good, to have so many people there. And some of the time it was people that came in I didn't know. They just had heard about my story through the news or through some sort of media outlet or just a friend that had mentioned it to them. And getting all this positive love from everybody felt really good. And it always helped me to understand that if I want to get better, I'm going to have to continue to remain positive. And being 16, it was tough. My junior year of high school, things were kind of going well for me, but I think I was always a very positive person, and I think that will to continue kind of came out of me even more when the injury happened. It's like that. There's another quote: you never know how strong you are until strong is the only option. And so it was a little, weird having all that attention on me, but at the same time, I think I needed it to continue to move forward.
Well, yeah, what a blessing! Literally, what a blessing! And that the wise old soul in you rose to the occasion. It sounds like, and everybody around you just really saw that and wanted to be there for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was undying support, and it set me up for a foundation of if I have all these people who are there supporting me and believing in me. How could I allow myself to be negative and give up? Because then I'm failing not only myself, but I'm failing all my friends and family and loved ones who have all this, they're taking time out of their busy day and schedule and work and school life to come see me. And so I want to show them that, you know what, I'm going to fight and I'm going to consistently move forward with it.
Wow. And how much did you miss some school then for a while then? I mean, you had to miss some.
No, I actually, the injury happened on July 2nd, 2003, so it was a summer football camp.
Wow.
And then I spent most of the summer in the hospital, and I went back to school right on time with everybody else, you know, in the fall. And then that was really weird, I won't lie, because the last time most of these students who I hadn't seen in a while saw me, you know, I was this hotshot football player.
You were like
I go back to school.
You were a stud football star, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I go back to school, and the first few days, my dad was pushing me around in the wheelchair. I had this neck brace on. I had not down, you know, go see the nurse all the time. I had to use the elevator to get up and down the second floor and stuff. And so it was kind of embarrassing, to be honest. But that's another thing I had to get over and just figure out, you know, this is what life is for me now. And I just have to continue to just push forward.
Right, and really connecting with what matters to you. Can you talk a little bit about your girlfriend? Because this is okay, folks, as you're listening, this is a love story, and I can't wait to hear more about your story with Jordan, your wife. I let the cat out of the bag. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Jordan and how this journey's been for her, with her, for you, and for you?
Yeah, well, Jordan is easily the most important person in my life. And we first met when I was about 12 years old, when I was in 7th grade. I had a huge crush on her all throughout 7th grade. She, of course, had a boyfriend. And then 8th grade comes around, and finally I had my opportunity to ask her for her phone number, because her and her boyfriend had just broken up. And, you know, the charming person that I am, I came to her rescue and kind of see, you know, what was going on and why she was crying in a certain situation. And so I get her phone number, we start talking, and I eventually get the nerves to ask her out. And it was on March 9th, 2001, at a local Dairy Queen in the parking lot. I asked her to go out with me. She says yes. And it was from that point that we had such a special relationship. About 2 years go by, my injury happens, and I can remember the very first time I saw her at the hospital, the first thing I asked her was, "Do you still love me?" And I don't really know why I had asked her that. It was just, how could you love somebody who is now, you know, so immobile and so now going to be dependent upon other people to do things? But without hesitation, you know, she gives me a hug and says, "Yes, I'll always love you." And then I can remember I was being interviewed by a local newspaper, and I can't remember the exact question they asked her, but her response to it stuck with me in my whole life, is that she says, "No matter how long he's in the wheelchair, I'll push him." And it hit me, you know, at this point, like, this is the most amazing and special person I can ever find. And I found her when I was 13 years old, and she stuck with me through everything, through the ups, through the downs. When I was at the hospital, they tried telling her to go home, but they did not get her to leave that hospital. She stuck with me, and she would stay, you know, over the night just to make sure that if I ever woke up, she was there by my side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so now we've been together for over 16 years. We got married back in 2009. That was a really special moment. And in 2012, she gave birth to our daughter. Her name is Skylar. She's a little over 5 years old now. And watching Skylar grow up and grow into the person she is has been so rewarding for me. You know, just this little diva that she is. It's amazing to know that I call Jordan my wife, and I call Skylar my daughter. I'm very lucky in that regard.
It's so beautiful. And, you know, it's like just showing anything is possible, and love really can conquer, you know, and just hold us high. Just, you know, community, but love is so powerful. You know, it reminds me of my husband when we were dating and we were living, you know, he was in New York and I was here in Vancouver, BC, and he said one day while we were talking on the phone, you know, this was the days before the really good phone plans, but we had our daily phone calls. And he says, "I was crying today," and I was thinking about you. I was crying, and I says, "Well, why were you crying?" And he didn't really know how to cry before. Apparently, I helped him learn how to cry. Not because I'm so brutal. I guess maybe that could be it, but just helped him to move to a different place in life. But it was like, what happened? And he said, "I was just thinking about you, and I was just imagining if anything ever happened to you, and you were trapped in your body, and maybe you couldn't even respond, I would want to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that just gave me shivers, and I felt so. It's that kind of love that I'm hearing when you talk about Jordan, and and I feel the same for him, right? It's just like that you know, shit happens, right? Things happen in life, and we deal with it, and it's really about holding on to that clarity about what really does matter.
Right.
So, excuse me. You know, in terms of the work that you're doing, and you've been doing a lot of stuff, and I'd like to, you know, during the next segment, talk more about some of the details of it. But on your journey in life, I mean, what are you hoping for? What's on your bucket list? And you've been doing a lot of great things.
Yeah, there's a lot of plans. Being a speaker has probably been one of the more rewarding things that I've done since the injury happened. I set a lot of goals for myself, whether it was, you know, physically or just emotionally, getting to the point I am. But being a speaker has been very rewarding in the fact that I get to go and share my story with all these different people who come from all different walks of life, and whether or not, you know, they have some sort of an injury or any sort of setback, or they're just there to listen. I think my story of just being able to continue to remain positive has been able to inspire a lot of people. I have a bucket list of a speaking event that I want to do. Is I would love to be able to speak to the Seahawks. You know, I'm a diehard Seattle Seahawks fan.
You're obsessed by those Seahawks. You and your wife, pictures with you guys with your jerseys on. It's so cute.
Yeah, and I think Pete Carroll, me and Pete Carroll share a similar mindset. Pete Carroll's the head coach of the Seahawks, and he preaches all about positivity and competitiveness and this idea of grit and always striving to do better today than you did yesterday. And I think my mindset is very similar to that. And so if I could just go and speak to the Seahawks, it would be, you know, I would be able to die a happy man.
Yeah, well, if any of you guys listening have any connections and know a way to get Logan in for that, I think that would be an amazing experience for them and for you. I mean, that would be like a dream, one of those dream come true moments. Huh?
Oh man, it would. Yeah, it would be. It would be amazing.
Pinch me. Is this really happening? Yeah. You know,
I've been to a couple of events where I was within feet of Russell Wilson. It would have been weird if I reached out and grabbed him, but I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan, and if I could share my story and talk to him personally, it would be amazing. It would be really cool.
Well, I have a feeling that just may happen.
I hope so.
Yeah, he may have taken a double take if he pinched him and what's going on there. But that's a whole other conversation. But I'm just, one of the things that also I found, you know, when you and I were talking about the possibility of being on the show, something you mentioned really stuck with me, and that was how this 10 and 90 for you, how you see it as transcending. It's to so many different life experiences, to basically anyone and everyone. And can you talk a little bit about sort of the universality of this philosophy and how and who you think might benefit from learning a little bit more about it? And yeah, you've written a book about it as well. We could talk about that later too. But who do you think would benefit from understanding this and on their journeys?
Well, like you said, I think it's a very universal mindset in the fact that things happen to you on a daily basis. And you can react to those things in one of two ways, right? You can either take it negatively or you can take it positively. And I've always chosen to take things in a very positive way. So if you set a goal for yourself, if you strive to do something to better yourself, if you're an athlete and you're competing, things are constantly happening to you along that journey. And if you can always react to what happens in a very positive fashion, I think you're going to be able to find success no matter what you're doing. I discussed about it. I did a TED Talk last year, and we don't have to get into that too much, but that was an amazing thing for me. But during my talk, I had mentioned I had met this guy named Danny, and Danny was addicted to drugs for a long time. And one morning he just woke up and said, you know what, no more. I'm going to clean myself up. And now he's been clean for about, I think, 6.5 years. And I think that mindset was inside Danny, is that he decided, you know what, no more. I'm going to react to this thing with so much positivity and so much willpower that I'm going to clean myself up. And sure enough, that's what he's doing. And getting to speak with him was an amazing opportunity for me. And I think just any time you're trying to better yourself, if you can continue to have positive mindset and be just a champion at thinking, believing, and acting with so much positivity in your life, like I said, the only result you're going to have is success.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So we have just another minute or two, but I was hoping that if you'd be willing to talk a little bit. Now I know one of your dreams, one of your visions is to your daughter's 5 now, and on your bucket list I think is if she ever does get married, you want to be able to walk her down the aisle. So you want to talk a little bit about that and give us an update. I know you've been on Como News and in the Seattle area and such, and everybody's been following that you had Como right after the injury or shortly after, and then 10 years later, and it's been 3 years since that Como. Would you mind kind of giving us an update about where things are and how that new device that you had people had donated to help you get, and your journey towards the walking your daughter down the aisle?
Yeah. So of course, with my injury, the ultimate goal for me physically is to walk again without any assistance. Right now, I walk around with a walker. If I go to my in-laws' house or my brother's or whatever it is, I usually use a walker. And so the ultimate goal. What?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so using the chair is, it's just more, when I go to the gym or when I'm at work, it's much easier using the wheelchair to get around. It's much quicker. But I try to walk around as much as I can. And so there's this device that the community helped raise for me called the Walk Aid. And essentially what it does is when you take a step, you pick your foot up so your toes don't drag, right? So this thing triggers an electrical stimulation to help so that when I'm taking a step, it doesn't drag. So I think with that, using that for, however many years it's going to take to continue to strengthen my legs will allow me to, hopefully be able to walk Skylar down the aisle when she does get married, and that'll be a happy but sad day for me, my little princess is now, married. But, I think it'll happen, but it's going to take some work.
I guarantee there won't be a dry eye in the house there. Anyway, well, we need to take a short break, but stick around, folks. We're going to be right back talking more positivity, even in the face of life challenges, with Logan Seelye after the break.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Theresa Nicassio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Theresa Nicassio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Theresa Nicassio as a speaker for your group, visit yumfoodforliving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
Yumfoodforliving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit yumfoodforliving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of yum. Don't wait. Visit yumfoodforliving.com. Yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net, the radio network that brings positive talk with positive change to make your world a little better.
Welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. For those of you who are just joining us, we've been talking with author, speaker, and former athlete Logan Seelye, whose dreams of playing professional football were derailed by a sports-related spinal cord injury when he was just 16 years old. Before the break, Logan, you were talking about your, kind of your story, the experience, and how it's changed your attitude and your approach to life. And I'm wondering how you are sharing what you learned with others. I know you do some speaking. I saw your TED Talk. I've seen you've been on TV. Can you share a little bit more about, about how you're getting your message out?
Yeah. So I actually wrote a book about my story, and that was a really fun thing. It was challenging. It took a lot of time, but once I started writing it, the whole book is about me. So I can talk about myself all day long, so it was kind of easy.
You're a little bit better than most people do, yeah.
Yeah, so when the book got out there, it was the end goal of writing the book was to, hopefully start to get some speaking opportunities, no matter, if it was a school, a business, a sports team, whatever it was. So it kind of took off. In January of 2016, I had one of my first talks, and then I was just getting contacted left and right by a bunch of different schools, a couple of sports teams local to me, businesses. I spoke at an injury meeting group. And just being able to share my story with all these different audiences and different people from all different walks of life has been so rewarding for me.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, and folks, the name of his book is it's 10 and 90, and what's the subtitle?
The Tackle That Changed Everything.
The Tackle That Changed Everything. And as with all the guests, you can learn everything. I've got lots about Logan as well as links to he's got websites, he's got Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram. He's out there. And so all that is, of course, on his profile page on my website, the TheresaNicassio.com website. And if you go in, well, right now it's on, of course, the home page where it comes right there with all the featured guests. But also if you just go into radio show and you go down to where you just click on radio show, or just when you go to the schedule, you can click on his name or the title of today's show, and it'll take you to his page. Has those links. But just for those who are listening and happen to have pen and paper by them right now, what's your website?
The website is as simple as 10and90.com.
10and90.com. Can't be much easier than that. That's great. And so, yeah, it's like in terms of TED Talks and all that kind of stuff, I've pulled together a nice profile page. It has a lot of the summaries of that. And then his website has all kinds of other good stuff on it as well. So, when you speak, you talk about you've been speaking to a lot of groups. So, who are your favorite folks to speak to, audiences to speak to?
It's most likely, people that are in high school or younger, especially, I think, middle school, because I remember when I was, a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid in middle school, junior high, I thought I was invincible, right? You think you know everything about the world. You don't listen to anybody because you think you know everything. You're, Mr. Tough Guy. Nothing can faze me. And so when I go to these schools, when I first wheel into the gym or to the library or whatever it is in the location, I think I get judged in different ways. Oftentimes people, I think, well, like, hey, this was supposed to be an inspirational talk. Why is this guy in the wheelchair here? And then I share my story with them, and their body language, their aura, if you will, is completely changed. And oftentimes they forget that I'm even in a wheelchair because of just how positive I am and how happy I am about my life. And I spoke at a middle school last year in September, and when I got done, one of the teachers came up to me, and she said that they've had a group of about 5 or 6 different 8th grade boys who, they fit that profile of, tough guys. They didn't listen to anything. And no teacher could really break through to them. But when I got done sharing my story, apparently they were all crying. And so what I was able to say in about 30 minutes, affected them in a way that, I'm not sure I even truly understand the power of what I have to say is. Yeah. After I did my TED Talk, I had a mom come up to me afterwards, and she said that her son is 14 years old, and he's been struggling with a drug addiction for a few years, and he's only 14. But with what I had to say in about 8 minutes at my TED Talk, he told his mom that he wanted to change his life, clean himself up, and be positive just like me. So it's a very rewarding thing for me to be able to share my story with kids and being potentially changing their life.
Yeah. Well, it's your story, but it's also, I think, it's also who you are, Logan, and and that, like you're talking about the aura and the essence. There's this sense of our humanity, and you're so clear that you are more than what anything appears to be. We all are, and you embody that, and you bring that to life through your storytelling, I think, and what a gift. So with this story and with this you're so clear in your soul about what you want to share with the world. You and your wife both, it seems, are on track. You mentioned that you've given some thought. I'm not sure where you are about the idea of starting a charity or a foundation or something. Can you talk a little bit about that, and if people are interested, if you are doing that, how do they follow you?
Yeah, it's in the very, very early stages. I'm just getting someone to help me file the paperwork and get the nonprofit started. It's most likely going to be called the 10 and 90 Foundation. But the idea behind it was, when the injury first happened, and there's a lot of medical bills that piled up, the community of SPINAL and the football team, they stepped up and they raised a ton of money for me. In one day, they did this thing called Sweep SPINAL for Seelye, and what they were doing is they were walking around with boots and buckets and big water jugs and just stopping cars at every corner of the street down this one street called Pacific Avenue. And they raised in one day about $12,000 or $13,000 for me for medical bills. They just did so much to help me to get back on my feet that I want to be able to start a charity or a foundation to raise money to give back to them, to help the football team go back to football camp, get better equipment, and just hopefully, do something at this point in my life to give back. Wow. So we're going to be having to finish pretty quick here, but if anybody's listening out there and wants to maybe support you in that effort, your early stages, what would be the best way for them to contact you? They could go to my website. There's a contact form on there on 10and90.com, or on any of my different social media accounts. They could just connect with me directly, and I'll let them know. Oh, that would be fantastic. All right, folks. Well, I want to first thank you so much, Logan, for being here. And so, folks, stick around. We have even more great show ahead of us. Excuse me, with my frog in my throat. As we're going to be continuing to talk about this theme of courageously making lemonade from the lemons of life, shifting perspective, with our next guest, who's going to be author Melody Owen. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Theresa Nicassio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Theresa Nicassio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Theresa Nicassio as a speaker for your group, visit yumfoodforliving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
YumFoodForLiving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit YumFoodForLiving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of yum. Don't wait. Visit YumFoodForLiving.com. YumFoodForLiving.com. That's YumFoodForLiving.com.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net, the radio network that brings positive talk with positive change to make your world a little better.
Welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show, where we celebrate everyday heroes and work together to help make the world a better place. I'm really happy to introduce our next guest, who you might remember from when she was on the show a few months ago as well, talking about embracing life. Melody Owen is she's on a lifelong journey, actually, to transform attitudes about health and wellness and brings a fresh perspective to living well and loving life. This is part of how she and I really bonded, is that we really are on a very similar wavelengths with that vision. Melody has an incredible story, which one day you're going to get to hear more about. You get bits and pieces right now. But she also has a wealth of knowledge to share, especially given her experiences. She's a lifestyle blogger and a leader in the Vancouver author community, and she's just released her first book called Fit and Fabulous, which you can learn more about on the Theresa Nicassio website on her profile page. Again, under radio shows, go to her show or one of the shows she's on and click on it, and you'll find her. Anyway, in her Fit and Fabulous, it's much more than what the title seems, because in this book she redefines conventional notions about what it means to be fit and what it means to be fabulous in regard to mind, body, and spirit. For over a decade, Melody has also been working on her memoir. That's where a lot of her big story is going to be coming forward. It's likely going to be released in 2018. And in that memoir, she's going to be detailing the riveting experiences of her life that have contributed to her very deep wisdom and strength that underlies her messages of empowerment and hope, even in the face of darkness and maybe despair. Today, Melody is going to be sharing with us about transforming the experience of victimhood, taking Logan's message, one step further. And she's going to be talking about going from victimhood to survivorship and beyond survivorship, actually, to a place of thriving. And she's going to use elements from her own experience to bring her message to life. Melody, welcome back to the show. It's so great you could join us here again.
Thank you, Theresa.
Yeah. Hey, well, let's just start with those three terms, and we throw around a lot: victim, survivor, and thriver. Can you briefly talk a little bit about what the difference is between those three?
Absolutely. A victim is someone who is powerless. They have no control in their own life. Things happen to them. A survivor is somebody who is going out and fighting against the things that are out there to hurt them. People who are in survivor mode are often quite emotional, and they're often in a fight or flight mode. A thriver, on the other hand, is empowered. They are 100% responsible for their life, not necessarily for what happens to them, but how they respond to that. They create their own life, and that's empowerment.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it seems like, you know, in our life, and I know as a psychologist, I see that all of this it's all part of all of our life experiences, you know, at some point or another. And you know, I'm wondering if you would be willing to share a little bit. I know that, you know, when you were growing up, your home life wasn't exactly a bowl of cherries, which is, I know, an understatement, as people will know once they get your memoir down the road. But, you know, through that, somehow you were able to transcend that. You know, would you mind sharing with us a bit about how you were able to shift from thinking of yourself as a victim into a survivor, and then ultimately even to a thriver? You know, what do you remember?
Thank you. Yes. So very quickly, my father was abusive. He was alcoholic, and I was his victim. I saw him as all powerful, and me as very powerless. Yet I was also very angry. And as I grew up, I realized that he was far less powerful than I thought he was, and you know, and that I didn't have to be his victim anymore. But I was still angry. I was still angry, and I was still fighting through life. I was still making sure that other people didn't hurt me. Or, better yet, I was running from the people who did hurt me. And at some point, I realized that when all you're doing is running away from the things that you think will hurt you, your demons will continue to follow you. You don't get rid of them because you're still looking back at the things that are hurting you, and you're still spending all of your time and energy on fighting what you don't want, and that's surviving. I decided I wanted to thrive, and so I took some time to decide where I really wanted to be, who I really wanted to be. And instead of fighting what was, and all this, people still saw me. I still had these victim triggers, if you know what I mean. I still displayed behavior that made some people see me as easy to victimize. But instead of focusing on that, I turned and I looked at what I wanted, and I moved towards that. And it was a slow journey, but it started when I was about 16.
Yeah. So that piece that I actually talk with my clients about oftentimes, shifting from the moving away from, like fleeing, like as you talk about, to moving towards what you want in life is a huge paradigm shift.
Yes.
And do you have any time? I'm sure when you were 16, you weren't really in that thriving place quite yet. How did you make that shift? Inside of you, do you have any memories along the way, or any people who taught you something, or what contributed to your ability to shift to this more empowered place? Which, again, any of you who know Melody know she's a beautiful, empowered, confident person, and radiates that. And so how did you kind of come upon that and discover that?
Well, when I was about 16, I felt things were going really poorly in my life. I dropped out of school. I didn't have a high school diploma. Everything was going very poorly. People predicted that I'd die young. And I remember one day I was sitting at the top of a ravine, which was as close as I ever got to nature at that point in my life. And I just remember realizing, it was like an aha moment. Wait a minute, I can listen to what these people say, but they don't know me. They don't really know me. Or I can continue their path, their chosen path for me, or I can carve a new path. At the time, I was really looking up at Mount Everest, and I didn't realize how far my climb was, which might have been a good thing at the time.
You were looking at, just metaphorically looking up at Mount Everest.
Yes, I didn't know how much work it was going to take, which was probably good.
Yeah, that's right.
I made the decision at that moment that I was going to change, and although the decision came quite quickly, the change came slowly over time. And I loved what Logan said about do better today than yesterday, because that's how I moved from that moment on.
Yeah. So, I was hoping that we can at least real briefly, can you just mention a little bit about your blog? So Melody has a blog. She also has her book, Fit and Fabulous. But can you talk a little bit about your blog? Because you've got some really great, great life lessons and such. Can you share a little bit about your vision around that and what you're doing with your blog?
Yes, I have a blog at nutritioustruth.com. I write about new ways to look, as you said, new ways to look at health and fitness, a paradigm shift, and what we mean by being fit and fabulous. I also have love notes on there for anyone who wants to send a love note to someone they love, brothers, sisters, anyone, neighbors, anyone in your life. And I talk about success, vision, goals, and I also talk about just things like gratitude and, leadership. There's a variety of topics in there. So, yes, nutritioustruth.com.
Nutritioustruth.com, and again, her website is on all the links to her social media website. You'll want to connect with this beautiful woman and maybe even have her speak for you. But we do need to go to another break. So, Melody, thanks again for coming back, and I'm sure we'll have you back again. I love having you on the show. After the break, I'll be answering your questions, so don't go away.
Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you.
There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Theresa Nicassio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
When you have a food allergy or dietary limitation, Dr. Theresa Nicassio knows it's hard to give up the foods you love, so she decided to put on her chef hat and give you affordable, personalized culinary consultations that will light up your taste buds. You'll explore substitute ingredients so you can enjoy your favorite foods again. She'll even help you make food preparation easy and guide you on your path to healthy living. And to get started, all you have to do is call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
YumFoodForLiving.com is the place to get easy, allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit YumFoodForLiving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of Yum. Don't wait. Visit YumFoodForLiving.com. YumFoodForLiving.com. That's YumFoodForLiving.com.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show, where we celebrate life, love, and kindness while also acknowledging the challenges that are a part of living. What great guests today. I'm telling you, I love these people. I love all my guests. They've been incredible. This part of the show, this is where part of the show I call Because You Asked. It's where I answer your questions, whatever they may be, whether it's about psychology, health, parenting, relationships, gardening, pets, cooking, whatever. It can be any of these things. To send in your questions, just click on the Ask Theresa tab on my website. I have a contact form there and also a special Ask Theresa tab. Either of them is fine. Or you can email your questions to me directly to my email, Theresa@TheresaNicassio.com. And again, that's Theresa with an H, and one C, and two S's. Theresa@TheresaNicassio.com. So for today, it's Because You Asked. A lot of times I try to get something that's thematically related. This one is not as obviously thematically related, but indirectly it is to the guest today. It's really about empowerment, but a different kind of empowerment. The question that I'm going to be addressing today comes from Skylar in Orange County. So Skylar asked me, why is it important to be prepared mentally, not only physically, before making a major shift in daily eating habits? and talk about a big question. This is massive. Seriously, Skylar, we could spend an entire week-long course just in answering this question, but I'm going to do what I can in the few minutes that we have, to at least as a starting point. It's extremely big and actually really important question. We hurt ourselves a great deal when we don't understand what's really involved in changing daily eating habits. The reality is whether we're talking about food or sleep or exercise or just something as simple as flossing our teeth differently, changing our habits is one of the hardest things we can do, and with changing our eating habits being maybe one of the most complex challenges. And part of that is because it's associated so strongly with how our brain is wired. And, we have like three major parts of our brain. There's the hindbrain that's really about appetite and survival and, sex and, aggression and all that. And then we have our midbrain, which is our emotional brain, our relational brain. And then we have our cortex, which is kind of our thinking brain, our decision-making brain, and so forth. And so when we think about changing eating habits, we're actually needing to change the wiring really in all three of these areas, which is it's really a bugaboo, particularly because of the strong association with the midbrain. And what I mean by that is one of the things that most people don't realize is that our eating habits are really strongly connected with our relationships with others and our emotions, our culture, our family relationships, our rituals, things that we've learned, our peer relationships, and our relationships with ourselves, our inner thoughts and our inner feelings, that inner state, and our relationship with the world around us, are really all inextricably connected with the habits that we developed around how we eat. How we seek to really nourish ourselves with the food we eat. Because the food can, yes, nourish us physically, but also because of those comfort foods and those associations that we have with memories of, the feel-good memories of feeling loved, of looking into maybe our mama's eyes if we, while we were eating, or our papa's eyes when we were, being fed as babies, all the way up to, into being a kid on the playground and feeling like we fit in or don't fit in during lunchtime, and the kinds of foods that we ate. And rewards, right? If parents, you've done so well, I'm going to get you some ice cream, or here's some candy for this celebration. So it gets really, really confusing. The other part of it that makes it really confusing associated with the brain is how there's certain chemicals in foods, in a lot of foods, that actually have an addictive quality to them. So there's physiologically an addictive quality. For example, sugar. Many of you know that sugar, when they've done MRI studies, it actually lights up in the same way when we have sugar as when we have cocaine, and it may actually be even more addictive than cocaine by some reports. So there's these actual realities of the wiring, and so. There's so much I can think about this. So having more of an attitude and maybe getting support around having an attitude of compassion for ourselves and appreciation for the complexity goes a long way. Because in our society, really, we get a bit abusive. There's a lot of shame that can come around how we think about our eating and when it's quote unquote emotional eating. And there's not a lot of room for compassion. And I've even heard some people talk about wanting to create taxes for people who are overweight, and very, very non-compassionate perspectives. So this is, having an opportunity to understand this and realize that we may be pulled into doing certain things and eating certain foods because it's our habit, is a really big factor. So, again, there's lots of stuff to talk about with this, but I'm going to say that, some of the things that can be really helpful if we can address some of those is not just making sure we have like the medical support if we need that for the physical realities of making changes, but but to create sustainable changes in the infrastructure of our neurological system, our brain system, so that we can maintain it. And the good news is, I just have to say, and I know I've said it and I'll say it 1,000 times, neuroplasticity is something that you want to know about if you don't already. So we can actually change our brain. We didn't know that. When I was growing up, we didn't know that. It's only been like maybe the past 20 years that we've really come to discover that we can change not only the synapses, the pathways in the brain, so that we can have different ways of thinking, but also the infrastructure itself. And what I love to tell clients that I work with is that it only takes 90 minutes. It only takes 1.5 hours to start to get turn a baby stem cell into a baby new synapse. And it takes about a month for it to mature. And it takes only about a month for a stem cell to become a baby new brain cell. And it takes maybe about 3 months for it to mature. So, that idea of the whole 30 was brilliant because, they say also if you can do something for 30 days, you can create a new habit. So I'm going to, there's, again, lots I can say about that, but the 3 Ps that I think I wanted to leave you with to help you on this journey as you think about making changes in your mental preparation are also preparation is persistence, patience, and positivity. And so, again, that message of positivity that Logan started with today is a great one, as well as what Melody spoke about. So we do need to finish. I hope this is helpful. I know this is just scratching the surface of your question, Skylar, but I hope it gives you something to begin with. And for all of you, keep sending in your questions. And be sure to tune in with us next week when Michael Ayalon will be with us talking about reducing sexual assault, substance abuse, and hazing on college campuses. Thank you for joining me for today's program. I hope you've all enjoyed the show. I'm Theresa, and this has been the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. Bye for now, and have a great week.
There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Theresa Nicassio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.